Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Anne Randall. She's a business leader, podcast host, certified coach, and motivational speaker. And she has helped hundreds of members and employees to make lasting changes to be the person they were meant to be. Welcome to the show, Annie.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited for today's conversation.
You are welcome. You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are talking right now. We'll be talking about small steps and to big transformation, how small steps can lead to big results, and that we'll be learning from you. But before that, let's learn a bit about your life, your journey, your success.
Yeah, thank you. Well, right now, I own 3 Orange Theory Fitness studio locations. I have 3 kids, and I've been married 27 years. And the path that really led me to there, I grew up, graduated from college, got married, went to work for U.S. Bank, so a large corporation. And about 15 years in, decided that we really wanted to own our own business. And so for the past 10 years, we've done that really in the fitness industry. And people come into our studios all of the time wanting to make change. And maybe some of you listening today have been in this situation. You want to make change. Sometimes it's lose weight or tone up. Sometimes it's other change, maybe in a job or go to college, something like that. But when we go to make that change, it can be really hard and it can be overwhelming. So I started to recognize with people the power of making small changes. And so we do that inside of our studios. I do it with both employees and I do it with our members to help them make small changes that lead to success. And I found that was the way I had to do it in my own life. I wanted some big changes out there, but sometimes we get overwhelmed and we think it's too much. So I started to implement this in my own life and started to really notice some significant traction. So I love to share about that today because it's helped me create businesses, it's helped me coach people, and also launch my Be the Person podcast.
Wonderful. Yes, that's what we want to learn from you. Even I want to learn from you about that. Sometimes I also want to do everything at the same time, and I am able not to do anything. So I want to know how small changes can actually lead to big transformation. Is there a way to get started? What are the steps towards? Suppose a simple person or simple business owner they want to do achieve something. How do they get to about doing that? Help us understand, know this something in a step-by-step manner if possible.
Yeah, I think that's such a great question and impactful because that is a place where a lot of us find ourselves, whether it's in business or with our health or whatever it is. It can be any area of life and this will work. I think first we want to write down what is that big goal that we want to achieve. And maybe it's launch a business, maybe it's lose 20 pounds. Whatever that is, you write down your big goal. And I think if you can see that, and then really understanding why do you want to do that? So I would write down the big goal and then write the why below it. And sometimes we have to dig a little deeper. Simon Sinek says that oftentimes we have to ask ourselves 7 times, what is the why? Like when we start to say we want to lose weight because we want to be healthier. Why do you want to be healthier? Maybe it's to, have more energy. Why do you want to have more energy? To play with your grandkids. All of those things. So when we really dig down to have our why, I think that's super important. And then I think we've all outlined plans before to get to that goal. But a lot of times we fail on the way because we take too much on. We overestimate ourselves. I know that I've done this in the past, thinking I can get more done than I can, thinking I have more willpower than I have. And so I would just encourage people to really start small. And oftentimes it's smaller than you think you need to. So, for example, I'll give you the weight loss one because that's what I deal with on a daily basis inside of our studios. Somebody comes in and they want to lose weight. And I would just encourage them. We're a fitness facility and we do personal training. So we help people in that way. So we write down a schedule, like when are they going to come in? If somebody's out there and they're not doing it with somebody else, or you don't want to join a gym, you don't want to have a trainer, I would say you can do this on your own. And the first step might be to walk around your block. And you may be thinking, well, that's really easy. I can totally do that. I can do more than that. I should start bigger. And I tell people, really start smaller than you think you should, and then do it consistently. Because change really happens when it's consistent. You'll never lose weight if you go out and run 5 miles today and then don't do it again. But you will lose weight if you walk around the block tomorrow and then you do it 2 times the next day and then you 3 times the next day and maintain that for the week. So start smaller than you think you should and then write out a consistent plan. In doing that, I think that's where sometimes we fall off because we'll do it once or twice, but we have to make it part of our daily plan and we have to schedule that in. So scheduling time for yourself and your goals is super important.
Wonderful, wonderful, Annie. Now, you talk about helping people to be the person they were meant to be. And what I understand, is that it is the divine who wants them to be something. That's the way perhaps it is. If they were meant to be that, then who is stopping them? I want to understand that part. And is it something else? Are they stopping themselves? Because God always wants them to be what He made them for. So I want to understand then what are the challenges people create for themselves? What is it that stops them to be the person they were meant to be?
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think God has a plan for all of us, a plan and a purpose. And I think oftentimes we get in our own way of why we don't achieve that. One of the big things is just that little voice in your head. And maybe you guys can relate. To me, for a long time, that voice had fear. It also had a lot of limiting beliefs and a really mean voice saying things like, you can't, you're never going to be good enough for that. Why would you try that? Nobody's going to like that. So I think when we say things like that to ourselves all the time, we negate what we can do and we stop our true purpose. But once we realize that's what's going on, for me, I had to understand, oh my gosh, I've been talking to myself in this voice for a long time and it's not helpful. What I'm saying to myself is not true. Because I think a lot of times, every time we have a thought, we think it's true. And realizing that's not the case, of knowing, yes, there is a plan and a purpose for my life. I can take steps to get there. And we talked a little bit about that. But then the second step is realizing what's stopping you. What do you need to let go of? Is it that fear? Is it that voice in your head telling you can't? Like, what are the things there? And for me, writing these things down can be really helpful in just uncovering what they are. Because sometimes we don't know what's stopping us. We think, it just becomes like, I'm not exactly sure why I'm not doing this. And for me, when I get out a journal or a blank piece of paper and just start asking myself, why am I not living into being the person? A lot of things will come out that I wasn't even aware of. And once that happens, we can address those things and then decide to let them go. And there's a process for doing that.
Right, Annie. You also talk about, achieving full potential for anyone. Now, there are many people who just keep on thinking small. Your thinking small, taking small steps is to achieve the bigger thing. But many people keep on thinking about small steps. They are never able to move towards the big potential that they have. How is it that they can actually move from, thinking small or always taking those small steps towards the big goal? What is the barrier in between, so that they can sidestep or overcome those barriers and achieve their full potential? Who tells them what is their full potential? Themselves or someone else? Because someone else also can create barriers for them. Help us understand about this. Who are the right people at that stage when you actually need mentors and not just people who are talking to you in whatever way they are seeing the world? Help us a bit on this.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I'm a big fan of coach and mentors. I've had them in my own life, of just people that help you see bigger than you can see yourself, of dreaming bigger. Because somewhere along the way in adulthood, I think we stop dreaming. I think we stop, a lot of times, we see things smaller than we should, instead of really looking and believing and dreaming different things. So I think, one, having a coach can be extremely beneficial in this area. And two, going through, like, I have an outline to say all the different areas in my life: health, business, faith, family, and just looking at that. And if you could create the life you would dream about, what would each of those areas of your life look like? And then get really specific so you can visualize that, you can see it, you know what the big dream is, and then you can work to overcome that. And sometimes there are barriers in the way that we just can't do by ourselves. And that's when I think coaches and mentors come in and they help us get to that big dream.
Right, right, Annie. So, as a certified coach, what do your clients generally come to you for? What are the questions that they ask of you? How do you help them actually on the ground?
Yeah, great question. And for me, it's a lot of different ways. I do a lot of health coaching. If somebody wants to be healthier, and it might be lose weight, it might be, they want to live longer, they want to have more energy, they're just not feeling good. So a lot of times we work on the health side, but with a lot of clients, I also work on the mindset side. So this is when, exactly what we are talking about, somebody has a dream or they have something they want to do, and they just are keep getting in their own way. They want to create it, but for some reason they're just not. And we walk through those steps to figure out how can they achieve those dreams. So I would say both health and fitness and mindset to achieve your dreams. I help clients in both areas.
Right, right. One more thing I wanted to understand is that a person who moves, to achieve transformation in their life, how do they understand what they look like after the transformation? Obviously it cannot be just about face or body. It has to be, it has to be much more bigger than that. Many a time the fear is that, while you are moving towards your transformation, as a lot of people say, fake it till you make it. And then when you make it, you find that whether you have moved towards authentic version of yourself or one fake version of yourself. How do you ensure that your transformation is authentic and not again suffer from imposter syndrome?
Yeah. I think that's a really valuable question, because when we move towards that transformation, we're making a lot of change internally. And I think imposter syndrome can come up. We can all fight imposter syndrome, to think, if they only knew what was going on, because everybody struggles there. But realizing you have that potential inside of you, you were meant to be something greater, you have that capability, and just realizing you have the ability to step in to be that person, leaving some of the old person behind. We leave behind some of the worry, some of the fears, the doubts, and we step in to be that person with confidence, with knowing who we are and being authentically you, it doesn't mean that process is easy. And it doesn't mean that fear and worry and those things won't try and sneak back in, but it means that you have a decision to leave them in the past. And that decision might be every single day for a while as you create this new person, the authentic you.
Wonderful. There is much to understand and learn from you, Annie. And this is just one episode with you. You have got a podcast, which I'm sure has many episodes. So tell us a bit about your podcast so that the audience can learn from you there.
Yes, I have a podcast called Be the Person. And on there, I'm a very curious person. I'm curious about a lot of different things. So sometimes it's solo episodes of what I've been learning and studying. Other times I'm interviewing people. And honestly, it's things that I love to hear about. It's mindset, it's health, it's different stories and journeys that people have gone on. So it's a really fun podcast. I've had it for about a year now, and I'm really enjoying interviewing and learning different people as I go.
Wonderful. As I said, there is much to learn from you, and I'm sure a lot of people would like to learn more about you, from you, get your coaching, and also your motivational speaking. So, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
The best way is my website. It's Be the Person CO for Colorado.com. BeThePersonCO.com. I'm also on social media at a lot of different platforms. Instagram is probably best at Annie Randall OTF on Instagram.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.